I don't know how many times I took Introduction to Ceramics. Probably like on the 7th or the 8th lap through that class. My instructor at the time sent me out here basically to meet these guys. That was the first time that I even realized that making pots could be like a job. Around 1983, Paul Herman bought the property and started Great Basin Pottery. When I met Paul, it was early 2000s, and I was not terrified of him, but pretty intimidated, you know. He was a pretty quiet, stoic character at first anyway. And I was young. I really wanted to learn about these kilns. I really wanted to be a part of this firing crew. So I just kind of showed up, shut up, paid attention, chipped in anywhere I could find a way to chip in. He was just like sort of a friend and sort of a mentor, and in a lot of ways a little bit like a father figure. When I finally decided I wanted to be a full-time potter, he sold me part of the property here. The idea was for me to just sort of move in next door, and when Paul got too old to keep making pots or just got tired of rolling all those big logs around or whatever, you know, I would kind of take over. His passing was unexpected and pretty sudden, and so that took our whatever, you know, 10-year plan and just kind of turned it into a tomorrow plan. Sarah and I started dating a couple years before I moved out here. When Paul passed away and I moved out to my little hunting tent camp full time, I was pretty overwhelmed. And I told her that I was pretty overwhelmed.
He shared with me sort of the stress of being here alone, and him sort of saying, I don't know if I can do this on my own.
And she quit her job, put in her notice at her little cottage in Reno, and she just moved out here.
It didn't feel like a crazy decision. Like, he had communicated he needed help.
Maybe it would have lasted another 2 months without her. When you know the history of a place, and in my situation, you know, like, Paul was a really important person to me, and I know he built everything here. Being the sentimental guy that I am, very conscientious of not doing anything that does not build upon and kind of enhance Paul's legacy here and his work. It is hard for me to imagine what it must have been like to build all of this from scratch like he did. It just adds like another layer of consideration and meaning to everything here, from the pots I make to the pots Paul made to the buildings themselves. So yeah, it's a package deal.